Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. My name is Hannah. If you're new here, I am a Western Practical Astrologer, and yeah, welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, a returning subscriber of the channel, hope you're doing well. So, we're going to be talking about Aries season 2024. Yes, so we're switching things up on the channel because what we're going to do from now on is we're going to explore your horoscopes based on the seasons rather than your horoscopes being based on the month. So the whole point of this is that we're going to be following the sun. So we're going to be looking at Aries season to begin because it all starts with Aries. So let's just dive in by showing you this. Of course, it's going to be Easter on the 31st of March. So happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. And if you're just taking a holiday, a vacation, hope you have a lovely time off. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi to you, Janelle. Welcome to you. Just to also let you know that I have some astrology products available. We have eBooks, guides, cheat sheets are available. All the links to these products will be in the description box rather. And I also want to let you know that I'm going to be hosting a workshop. So it's going to be a workshop all about annual perfections in astrology. That's going to be on the 30th of March, so the day before Easter. I hope you can join. You can sign up by filling in the registration form over at hannahselsewhere.com. Again, that can be found in the description box in the events section. Hi, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. And if you are interested in becoming a patron, if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can do so by going to the Hannah's Elsewhere Patreon. It's also linked below. You will gain access to daily forecasts there, behind the scenes videos, and PDF guides. Right, so here are some important dates to remember throughout Aries season. So the sun enters Aries this year on the 19th of March. You can actually find a video on the channel. So I went live. Oh, how is my connection? Is my connection okay? Are we good? Are we good for the connection? Let me know if there's any issues. But anyway, as I was saying, there is a live video available. Well, I went live with two other astrologers. I went live with Jasmina and Andre, and we talked about this upcoming spring equinox. So if you're interested to hear more about the energies involved, then you can check out that video. Make sure that you check out their work as well. So yes, the spring equinox begins from the 19th of March this year. Then we see here that Mars will enter Pisces on the 22nd. The lunar eclipse will happen in Libra on the 25th. There's actually going to be a video about that on Sunday. And then Pallas on the 29th of March. Let me just check my connection a moment, because it seems to be jumping a little bit. Let's hope that we make it back. Let me just check it. Thank you for your patience, by the way. But let me know if there are any major issues on your end. Hello to SJ. Welcome. Yes, it's going to be an exciting time, I think. So as I was saying there, on the 29th of March, Pallas retrograde will begin. This will be in the sign of Sagittarius. And then we also see here that on the 31st of March, Vesta will re-enter Cancer, because of course there was that retrograde of Vesta through the sign of Cancer and Gemini. And then Mercury retrograde is going to happen from the 1st of April until the 25th of April. So we're going to be talking about that. Oh, that seemed to have it disappeared on me. Restream seems to have a mind of its own today. I'm not sure why, but here we are. Anyway, strange, very strange. That's never happened before. Huh. Hello to Simon. Welcome. You said that you're new. Well, welcome. Hope you enjoy your horoscopes. You find them to be helpful. Hello to you, creator, as well. So, as I was saying there, Venus will enter Aries on the 5th of April, and then we have the solar eclipse in Aries on the 8th of April. So, a lot of Aries energy throughout Aries season. Actually, there's going to be a stellium in the sign of Aries throughout Aries season. So, there is a lot to look forward to. But I do want to take a moment to just wish you all a happy astrological new year, right? So, this, of course, marks a new cycle. This new year marks the astrological new. It's an astrological new year, basically. So if you think about how typically speaking, we would follow it as the 1st of January being the new year for us, which of course we still follow and I still follow, but it's good to remember the astrological new year. And it begins with the spring equinox. So this is the time period when we're really starting to come out of the winter season and we're welcoming a new, right? What's happening here as well is that the sun is gaining greater strength. So this is also why I wanted to really follow the path of the sun through the horoscopes too, because the sun is really about purpose. The sun is very powerful within astrology. It's related to our spirit, actually, and also to our egos. But yes, happy spring equinox. I hope that you're able to give that video a watch that I mentioned. Okay, so that video that I did with the other two astrologers, Jasmina and Andre, because there's some really insightful information there. And I even have a quick video about the spring equinox available over on my Patreon. It's in the behind the scenes section. But it's going to be an interesting season for sure, Aries season. I mean, because we have eclipse season also happening during it in Aries and Libra. And then we also have Mercury retrograde. All right. So let's break this down. Aries season begins from the 19th of March and it will be all the way up until the 19th of April. So we're essentially going from exploring our fantasies, our dreams, our inner world, our spiritual lives, to then our goals, our ambitions, our wants, our desires, how we take action. You may even feel a bit of this right now as Mercury is in Aries. And we're also going from the spiritual to the physical. We're going from a period of deep reflection, deep contemplation, really going inward, connecting with possibilities, connecting with our visions. And then what we're doing as we enter Aries season is it's more about how we act. It's more about our drive, our motivations, our willpower. This is about our physical energy. It's about spirit as well. I feel as if this is what happens during the spring equinox, is that we're reminded that our spirit remains and the light within us still continues to burn. And the sun is always there, right? The sun, it's still there. Of course, in this during the winter in the northern hemisphere, the sun has more power than in the southern hemisphere, and then vice versa. We're also going from shining a light on connection with the divine to who we are as individuals, right? Who we are as individuals. Sun will conjunct the North Node and Chiron throughout April. So this conjunction will have something to do with our ego wounds, our individuality wounds. There's more to the Chiron story that we have discussed on this channel. And Mercury will be in Aries all season long. So you could very well find that you are very quick with your words, quick when it comes to the things that you really want to do. Ideas are flowing. Of course, with that being said, we can be too quick. We can be quite cutting with our words. Our words can be used as weapons at times, especially if we feel like we need to be on the defense as Mercury is traveling through this sign. But this energy also says, okay, I'm going to be innovative. Okay, I'm going to explore. This is certainly a season of self discovery. How wonderful. And then Mercury retrograde will conjunct the Sun on the 11th of April, actually. So that's going to be an interesting one because I feel that is going to invite a real hard look at ourselves, this internal view, this going inward with respect to, okay, who am I? Who am I? What do I want? What is my path? What is my purpose? What is my direction? And this is all about the beginning stages because this is Aries, but this is also highly powerful. So, on the 22nd of March, Mars will then enter Pisces. This is relevant because Mars will be the dispositor of Aries season. It is the dispositor of Aries season. So when the Sun is in Aries, you need to look at what Mars is doing, really. So Mars will enter Pisces from the 22nd of March until the 30th of April. So this Mars energy will be in Pisces all season long. But what does this indicate? Well, we're not done with Pisces yet. We're not quite done because really this is also about recognizing, okay, how do I get caught up in other people's annoyances and their anger? There's a great deal of empathy when it comes to Pisces, but of course, that empathy can also pick up on emotions that are frustrating or upsetting. So, this could be a useful time to perhaps go inward and to reflect on, okay, what really annoys us? But our annoyances and our anger come from something much deeper, right? They stem from something way, way deeper. Even this is a good month to see anger as a transformative process, seeing how our anger looks at what needs are not being met, what is unfulfilled in our lives, what are the other possibilities we're trying to reach for. This is about exploring the unknown and trusting the process when it comes to change, especially change with respect to, as I say, anger. But this is also about how we assert ourselves, right? So Mars looks at how we take action, how we initiate. So with all of this Aries energy building throughout the season, these things are very much on our minds. But you see, Mars then in Pisces says, perhaps there's something you haven't actually considered yet. Perhaps this is also about trusting in what could be. This is about the mysteries of life. This is about exploring things that are magical and fantasy related, things that are inspirational, really gravitating toward creative and artistic goals. Considering what our creative and our artistic goals are and how such things can really push us and make us want to just win and succeed. And also, this is about standing up for empathy, standing up for compassion. How can we, throughout Aries season, also try to remember compassion for other people? Okay, so you may find during Aries season that you're more selfish or you're more willing to put yourself first, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think Mars and Pisces can be quite useful to us because it's going to add an oomph, a layer of, okay, how can I also consider other people, their needs, what they want? How can I check in with other people as well? This could be quite a frustrating energy in all honesty because of the fact that there will be so much Aries. So I think maybe what's useful for Aries season this year, especially, is to take a beat, to pause. Find power in the pause. And then you find power in the pause, you reflect a little, and you go, okay, this is what I was meaning to do. Okay, this is the path that I'm on. Right. I'm more spiritually aligned in this way. So much Aries can suggest that we live in survival mode as well. We live in a place of being quite reactive, right? Aries can be very reactive. So we could just run on autopilot. There's the whole autopilot of I'm just reacting. So I feel as if Mars in Pisces will add a layer of self-awareness or a layer of, okay, let me just try to identify how I'm actually feeling. Where's all of this stemming from? And how is it connected to something deeper within myself? This is also a good opportunity to meditate, to contemplate, read, spend some time alone. Now, a few aspects then. Mars will conjunct Saturn on the 10th of April. So that conjunction can be quite useful in terms of, okay, there's focus, there's drive, there's willpower there, but there's also determination. And then Mars sextile Jupiter and Uranus. So that'll be around the last day of Aries season before the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. So these sextiles between Mars and Jupiter and Uranus, these aspects have something to tell us about our financial goals, our blessings, even when it comes to our blessings when it comes to the material world. Our this whole thing of Jupiter being in Taurus saying patience is a virtue. So Mars, I think, making the sextile, I think that's going to drive a lot of things home for us. There's going to be greater clarity. There's a greater understanding about how we can also not just, how do I say, feel or understand this whole thing of patience being a virtue, but it's also about how our actions align with it. And so, I mean, with Jupiter can often preach, right? Jupiter can be the all-seeing, all-knowing. Oh, I'm talking about it, I'm preaching about it. But it's also a question of, are you doing it? How are you aligning with these words in an everyday sense? How are you aligning with them when it comes to your actions? So Mars, I think, can be quite useful for us in this regard. Right, so we have the lunar eclipse, which is going to happen in the sign of Libra. And that's going to be on the 25th of March. So there will be a video coming on Sunday about this eclipse. So we'll talk more in detail about it on Sunday. But in short terms, this is an eclipse that will look at significant relationship clarity, teamwork clarity, how it is that we connect and relate with others, but also how do we differ, how do we disagree with others, how can we resolve conflict, how can we reach healthy resolutions as well within our relationships. So there could be something that we will release during this time, and clarity in this regard. Kindness and intelligence rewards as well, so Libra can be a highly intellectual sign, very intelligent, very graceful in its intelligence too, being able to weigh out options, being able to see both sides of a situation, and that within itself is very smart and very intelligent. So there could be some rewards up ahead, thoughtfulness rewards, thinking even about times when you've been kind to someone and you haven't done it maliciously, or you haven't done it as a way to get something in return. It's not really that there's conditions to it. It's just more so that you're giving from a place of, well, being kind. So in this way, I think this could look like things coming back, but it's not, it's not about doing the things so that things come back. It's just that we do them and then automatically things just start to unfold this way where we are rewarded, right? I suppose you could look at this as karma, if you will. A notable balance release point as well. So seeing where we are balanced in life, seeing where we're not very balanced, and then there could be a bit of a reset, right? A reset, or as I say, a release. Thinking about when the scales are tipped too far to each side and how things can come to a healthy equilibrium, and then having greater clarity in this way. And then lastly, we see here an exchange and a sharing reset, possibly. So much to do with relationships, much to do with even how we judge situations and how we share ultimately. Libra really is the sign of sharing. Sharing is caring, right? What is that saying? A problem shared is a problem halved. Could be wrong on that, but yes, this lunar eclipse in Libra will be interesting when it comes to these matters. Now, this will be an eclipse that takes place at 5 degrees, so do make sure to look at your own chart. What sort of placements do you have around 5 degrees of Libra, around 5 degrees of Aries. Just look at your own chart. But the number 5 is adventurous, confident, curious, knowledgeable, prosperous. So it's a good time to get curious. It's a good time to explore other sort of options through a lens of adventure and being confident. And then there are a few aspects there that will occur during the lunar eclipse. So we've got the Sun sextile Pluto. So there's something about the ego, the cracking of the ego, breakthroughs when it comes to the ego. We see Moon trine Pluto as well. So this is also about our past, our traumas, our unresolved traumas, the healing that's to be done. There's cleansing, there's this very cleansing energy that's happening here, looking at our own inner turmoil, looking at power struggles, power plays within relationships. And then Venus sextile Jupiter and Uranus as well. Keep in mind that Venus is the dispositor of the lunar eclipse. So that I feel can be quite useful to us, especially with Venus being in Pisces. I mean, Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. So, I mean, that can welcome opportunities for great healing and emotional clarity and growth, right? Even growth when we think about the wisdom that can be gained and the wisdom that can be shared, especially how such things relate to our self-worth. Hello to Brianna. Hi, welcome to you. Welcome. Thank you for commenting as well, everyone. So, Pallas retrograde will happen then from the 29th of March. This is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. All right, so I want you to just quickly think about how Pallas Athene is strongly about strategy, creative intelligence, creative visualization. Pallas can also be quite diplomatic in its approach. So to have Pallas in Sagittarius right now, there is something here about how our strategies are more aligned with universal truths and principles. This is about being able to grasp the bigger picture, having a much broader understanding of things, a wider understanding of things. But you see, with the retrograde, we're going to be taking a closer look at these matters. We're going to be retracing our steps, right? And then, of course, Pallas retrograde will enter Scorpio throughout May, which we'll talk more about closer to the time. And then we have Vesta re-entering Cancer on the 31st of March. Yeah, so that will be an interesting one, I think, because there was the retrograde from November until December in Cancer. This was in 2023. So we could see this moving forward process, this clarity when it comes to emotional devotion, when it comes to family care and support. So Mercury retrograde in Aries. So this is quite a big one. It's a big one because this is the first sign. This is also the first Mercury retrograde of the year. It's the first Mercury retrograde of the astrological year. and just retrograde in general of this year. So we see here that with Mercury being in Aries direct, this is giving strength here to having fast decisions, right? Quick decisions. I see Aries as very instinctive, but as also quite intuitive in this way, because Aries is able to sort of just have this quick spark of insight or this spark of inspiration, this creative spark, right? Because Aries is the match. Aries is that spark of life. So Aries can just go, right, okay, this is my decision, go. So there could be a lot of this, right? With Mercury being in Aries, just quick thinkers, being able to think on our feet. We can act now, think later. Yes, instinctive, being straightforward, being direct. Also, learning and processing by doing. This is what Mercury in Aries is so much about. You can say to someone who has Mercury in Aries, okay, so you do this, and this, but they're like, no, I actually want to do it. I'm going to do it. And then that's how they learn the best. It's an interesting one as well because Mercury in Aries doesn't necessarily have to have a plan in place when it comes to learning or when it comes to grasping a new concept. They just have to start. They just have to begin. And then it's sort of this attitude of we're going to learn along the way. And then we may make a few mistakes. We'll address that when we get to it, right? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That can be that sort of attitude that Mercury in Aries has. However, there can also be times when Mercury in Aries can jump to conclusions, right? Because things can just be so fast, and there can be the whole thing of speaking so quickly, this not thinking before you speak, essentially, and then saying the quote unquote wrong thing. And what I mean by wrong thing is upsetting someone or really not meaning to come across in a certain way, and so on. And therefore, the retrograde is going to be interesting because from the 1st until the 25th of April, Mercury will be retrograde, and this will be a time period for us to watch our words, watch our tongue. Mercury retrogrades are usually about this, right? Mercury retrogrades teach us the power of, okay, my mind. There's so much in my mind, and I'm trying to process things here. And also, there's a lot of information outside of me, and I have to continuously review, have a look at it, see what's going on, right? We're constantly thinking, and our very environment is full of language. It surrounds us. It surrounds us. What is that thing? The all is mind, right? So you kind of think of it as everything stems from this mind field. Interesting. It's like everything that you see in your life started with a thought. It started with an idea. And so Mercury and Aries, especially with the retrograde, it's going to be an interesting one because it's going to point toward the potency. It's going to point toward that strength, that power, that as I was saying, the quickness to our minds, to our intellect. So this will be quite challenging, I feel, for many of us, especially because Aries can be so quick. But Mercury retrograde says, okay, let's try and reel it in a little bit. Let's try and be somewhat reflective here. So it'll be an opportunity for us to just take some time to consider how we mean things to come across, what we're really trying to say, especially when it comes to our wants, especially when it comes to our individuality, our identity, when it comes to the path that we're on, right? So Aries is the self. So this is a good opportunity for us to really get right with, okay, what do I want? What do I want, and how can I communicate what I want in such a way where it's more effective, or where I've really given it a lot of thought, right? I've given a thought of went over this. And the pre-shadow period will begin from the 18th of March. So it's coming. It's coming. It's going to start from the 18th of March all the way up until the 1st of April. So that's going to be around 15 degrees all the way up to 27 degrees. So definitely look at your chart, because the thing about the pre-shadow period is that it will most likely be something that, from this time period that we will revisit, that we will explore. So there's going to be a few different aspects along its path with Mercury. So there will be a sextile to Pluto. So that can be quite a dynamic aspect. We actually have already experienced that, to be honest, because Mercury just did enter Aries, and then there was the sextile to Pluto. So that was, thinking about past tense, but that was quite dynamic. And then Mercury conjunct the North Node, followed by Chiron. So there's more to the Chiron story. And then we see here Mercury retrograde. I talked about Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun, but then it will also conjunct Chiron and Venus. So the Chiron part of it, I think, will look at, okay, where do our doubts stem from? Any insecurities related to how it is that we speak and how it is that we mean to come across, and any fears of rejection, fears of rejection when it comes to what we're really wanting to communicate, and how we wish to make our wants effective. And then we also see here that with the conjunction to Venus, there's more to the story with respect to our relationships and our creativity as well. Thinking about art and beauty and creativity and pleasure. So there could be a bit of a revision, the ability to review when it comes to these matters. But again, because it's Aries, it's very much looking at this no, it's just quick, 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 quick. So it's just a good idea to go within and to reconsider, right? Okay, can I be maybe a little bit too impatient, impulsive? How is it that I want things to go? And is it that this is also thinking, is there something about our passions present too, right? How passionate we feel, how enthusiastic and eager we feel, right? This is a good time to really connect with our passions, to connect with our goals in such a way where it's like, yes, I feel like I can do this. I can. It's this I can do it attitude throughout this retrograde, throughout every season, even. Oh, you're saying this is Sparta? Yeah, I just put a warrior of some kind. Thank you for the observation. Okay, so Venus will enter Aries from the 5th of April and will be there up until the 29th of April. So Venus in Aries, I think, is going to further add to the spark, to our energy, our passions, our excitement, right? Aries can be like this giddy, excitable child. Aries can be super playful and childlike as well, kind of similar to Leo. But Aries can also be quite grumpy and moody at times. Aries can also go into a huff, whenever it doesn't get what it wants, these childlike qualities, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing. But Aries is also a leader. Aries is bold. Aries is brave enough, courageous enough, and possibly foolish enough to do the thing that other people are not doing, right? Other people are just sitting on the sidelines, and Aries is like, no, boom, I'm gone, I'm doing it. So Venus here adds this push, adds this value quality. It adds to the live in the moment, live for the now energy, and the childlikeness as well, and just valuing these parts of ourselves, welcoming these parts of ourselves actually. And also being fast, being motivated when it comes to the things that we value, being quite fast as well when it comes to relationships and how we get on with other people. But certainly this is a season that's going to be full of these qualities. We're going to really be in the heart of it all throughout Aries season. So it should be certainly an interesting, passionate time. And then we also see here that with the aspects, right, Venus will sextile Pluto, so there's some dynamic, hot energy there, quite steamy, perhaps, quite sexual. Um, and yeah, certainly intimate. And Venus will also conjunct the North Node and then that Mercury retrograde energy, which we just touched on. But with the North Node there, conjunct Venus, that's going to tell us something about, okay, my path. Okay. Thinking here about the North Node in Aries and how so much of us are getting right with ourselves in terms of our confidence, in terms of our own individuality. So Venus is going to add a quality of value and a quality of self-worth to the picture. And lastly, we have the solar eclipse in Aries. We're also going to be talking about this solar eclipse in Aries in its own video. But what this is going to indicate are the significant leadership seats, more to the Aries Libra axis in our charts. Keep in mind, we did experience a solar eclipse in Aries last year. So certainly there's more coming up. And this is going to be a time period of powerful independence beginnings. This new cycle, this notable cycle to do with our identity, thinking about what opportunities are available to us. This could very well be exciting in terms of just new passions, new interests, new visions, new hopes. And I think it's all very relevant in terms of when it's happening, because with Aries season, this is about, okay, new beginnings, goals. What do we want? What are we trying to achieve? How can we add to what we already sort of have achieved, but in a way where we're considering, right, I'm being honest. I'm being honest about what I truly want. Aries is this sign that is so incredibly honest, maybe too honest for its own good, so honest that Aries can often annoy people, can often piss people off, because Aries can be tactless. Aries can be rather blunt, and maybe this is and brash as well. So perhaps this is also why with the Mercury retrograde, it could be useful to watch our words a little bit. Hot tempered as well. Aries can be quite quick to anger at times. So perhaps this solar eclipse is going to even usher in some notable changes in this regard. But really, this is about leadership, right? This is about our personal paths. This is about our life path, actually. And as I was saying, our self-discovery. This is about having the courage, being brave enough to take the first step, to venture off into the unknown, kind of like the full tarot card, right? That full energy is so much about new beginnings and just taking a leap of faith. So yes, this solar eclipse, I feel, is going to highlight these areas. This is an initiation. This is self-assertion worth paying attention to. And who knows, the opportunities that come from this eclipse or that start to unfold from this time, perhaps they will be strongly linked to our identity and how our identity could very well change, which that could involve the likes of major relationship changes, job changes, business changes, health changes, body changes, name changes, financial changes, you name it. However, this eclipse is also going to conjunct Chiron. They're all going to be the same degree. I know. So that's going to be quite potent, because that's going to be, it's almost like this eclipse says, okay, We recognize that the North Node and Chiron were conjunct back in February, and you really did lean into your wounds and your insecurities when it comes to how you stand up for yourself, when it comes to truth, honesty, and so on. But hey, this eclipse is actually going to welcome huge changes that you perhaps would never have thought of or dreamed about before. This is an eclipse that really says step into the uncomfortability, step into it, because hey, it's within uncomfortable situations that we grow the most. It's not easy. It's like, no, 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 I don't want to look at that. No, no, no. But Aries is so daring enough, so bold enough to go, I'm doing it. You know, Aries faces, this is Aries, like Aries faces the devil. Aries faces those demons and says, you think you can defeat me? You think you have power over me? Well, I'm confident enough to say no. Aries says, bring it on, right? Aries wants to be challenged. Aries is like, oh, you've got a challenge for me? Okay, I'll take it. I'll do it. Okay, who am I competing against? Like, come on. And even if there's no competitors, so to speak, Aries goes, how can I outdo my personal best? How can I challenge myself? Right? This is about, especially with Chiron, your personal journey when it comes to the things that scare you the most in life, the things that just make you go, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Aries goes, no, you're going to lean into it. You're going to face it because we want you to grow. We want you to push past your fears, to face yourself, to challenge yourself. Right. So, and just a couple more things, which we will talk more about during the solar eclipse in Aries video, but the North Node will be in Aries opposite the South Node in Libra, and then Mercury retrograde will still be happening then during the solar eclipse. And then Venus will also be in Aries. But you know what? I'm going to leave that for its own video. And just a few other things to mention before we jump into your horoscopes. A couple of significant major aspects throughout Aries season. We've got Mercury conjunct Chiron. We've got Sun sextile Pluto as well. We also have here Venus conjunct Saturn, Venus sextile Jupiter, Venus sextile Uranus, Mars opposite Juno retrograde, and then Mars conjunct Saturn. So if you would like more information, about these aspects, certainly make sure to follow me over on Patreon. You can follow the daily forecasts over there, and I break down the aspects every single day. But I just wanted to show you here a few of the aspects throughout the season. Even just you can look more into these for yourself. But we do see here that there's going to be major activations when it comes to the signs of Pisces and Taurus, right? So there's more to do with imagination and our dreams and how we materialize these things in our lives. And we also notice that there will be some more of the Aquarius Aries story coming up here to do with innovation, to do with independence and individuality, and how it is that we relate to the group, how it is that we see ourselves within the collective. And then even with Mars opposite Juno retrograde, I mean, that's going to be a conversation between Pisces and Virgo. Oh, so we've been noticing the Saturn opposition to Juno retrograde recently. So we have been seeing here these, I would say, the struggles, the back and forth when it comes to meaningful relationships and what it is that we do, what it is that we bring. So thinking about the Virgo stuff of our everyday tasks and responsibilities, how things play out there. But with Mars coming into the equation, I feel that is going to it's going to bring a greater push, but it may be a greater awareness push when it comes to self-compassion. So, as I say, I will explore more of these aspects over on my Patreon. So do make sure to check out Hannah's Elsewhere on Patreon. I do daily forecasts every day. Aries season horoscopes. Let's get into it. Hello. Hi. S- So, thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for chatting. I hope that you're enjoying the live stream so far. And I'm sorry about the internet connection at the beginning. It was quite shaky. All right. So, we're Aries for Aries season. Aries. All right. So, we see here that the sun is in your sign. Happy birthday to all of you solar Aries out there. I hope you have a great birthday. And so, the main focus for you, of course, the sun looks at our light, it's tied to our purpose, our direction, our spirit. So, for you, Aries, this is certainly a month where you're feeling really inspired, you're feeling creative. This is a month of great creative vision, great creative foresight, and having this I can do it attitude and wanting to execute your goals, to be quite willful actually, and to have a presence of I'm going to get through this. I'm going to execute my goals. I'm going to be, I'm going to be very headstrong in my approach. And there can be this not really wanting to hold back energy as well, just wanting to jump in head first and really considering your independence. This is certainly a season of leadership and being daring, right? You have this about you. You can be like this, right? You are someone when it comes to your goals and your ambitions, you can have this just do it attitude. Now, Mars, which is your ruler, Mars will enter Pisces from the 22nd of March. So, coming to the end of Mars in Aquarius, I think as we enter Aries season for you, Aries, consider what you have learned when it comes to communities and groups and teams and your aims and goals there. And then coming into the 22nd of March throughout the rest of your season, it's a good opportunity for you to actually do some contemplation, right? To go inward and to kind of reflect on, okay, what are my goals? Are my goals spiritually aligned with what I want? And perhaps as well, this could be useful. It could be useful for you to rest in between the initiating process, right? To take time to figure out, okay, this is when I'm resting. This is when I'm taking some time away from the public eye. But then it's also doing this as a way to help refuel you, to recharge you, so that when you do get on with other things, you feel more alive. You're more energized, right? You can be quite energetic in general, Aries, but I think the Mars and Pisces energy is signifying just some time for yourself, some time to be able to refuel, to recharge. And that can be great for your own self-awareness, right? Instead of just mindlessly, aimlessly doing and doing and doing and doing, and like I was saying with Aries, being quite reactive, Mars, I think, is going to give you enough of that pull back, enough of that inward motion to think about, okay, what am I doing? How am I coming across? Having these periods of self-reflection. Now, there will also be the eclipses that will happen in your 7th and 1st houses throughout your season. So that I feel is going to welcome huge, significant opportunities when it comes to what you're releasing relationship-wise, what you're letting go of a little bit when it comes to clients and customers, and when it comes to your shadow. But then at the same time, thinking about what you are welcoming, what is new, what new opportunities are coming up for you when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your life path. This is certainly a season for you of trying something very new, fresh, and even looking at your fears, looking at what could possibly be holding you back in a sense with Chiron. So even with Chiron being there in your sign, there's still something about potential leadership insecurities or times when you've been rejected for being a leader. And how can you realign yourself in such a way where you can recognize that you've healed a lot? Or how can you even assist others through their own sort of healing too, when it comes to leadership and when it comes to standing up for themselves? I mean, you tend to be the sign, Aries, that stands up for the underdog. So Mercury then will be retrograde from the 1st until the 25th of April in your 1st house. So from the 19th of March, Mercury will be direct, but it will be in its pre-shadow period. So this is about you considering, all right, what could I be reviewing during the retrograde with respect to my life path and my goals and my identity and my physical appearance, my physical body. And with the retrograde itself, that's going to be a time period then for you to review, for you to go within, do some reflection, see what else, okay, what can I learn? What have I not thought of yet? This could be a great creative process for you, a great creative time. And then we also notice here that from the 5th of April until, well, all the way through, right? So from the 5th of April for the rest of your season, Venus will enter Pisces then. And so, hold on. Aries. It will enter Aries. My mistake. It will enter Aries. My mistake. So then that will be a good period for you to think about, all right, what about my finances? What about my relationships as well, and how they are tied to my life path? Now, just to take this a step back, and this is where I got mixed up, but from the 19th of March until the 5th of April, Venus will be in Pisces, right? So coming into your season, it is still about, okay, very much thinking about your creativity, your imagination, your dreams, and maybe playing around with the possibilities in terms of financial prospects, possibilities in terms of your creativity. And then coming into from the 5th of April all the way till the end of your season, it's almost like you're going to feel the real rush, the excitement to want to make things happen then, right? To want to do. But again, with the retrograde of Mercury, as much, Aries, as you want to do this season, try and also practice a bit of self-control. Practice a bit of, okay, how am I reacting? Maybe it's about slowing down a little bit and listening to my inner guide, listening to my true intentions and what I really, really want. Okay, so we're moving on to Taurus. Taurus. All right. So, Aries season for you, we're going to see that the sun will be in the 12th house all season for you. So, for you, Taurus, your birthday season is coming up. It's just around the corner. I'm sure you're excited. I hope you solar Taurus folks, you're looking forward to your birthday. But during Aries season, this is a great time to relax. I'm sure you love to hear that, Taurus. It's a great time to relax, to try and take some time to yourself, to try and get right with yourself spiritually, to realign yourself when it comes to your spirituality, your spiritual values, even thinking about the subconscious, right? What is it about the subconscious here that may be trying to come through? Subconscious fears, the subconscious mind in terms of any initiation challenges, self-assertion challenges. But yes, the sun here is highlighting a period of time of great relaxation, the ability to think about, okay, how am I feeling? What have I experienced? What do I want? Where do I see myself headed? You kind of think about it too through a lens of your birthday, right? We tend to sort of do this when it comes to approaching our birthdays in life. Sort of thinking about, oh, another year older. And as we celebrate our birthdays, we may start to think about what is it that I want then coming into the next birthday, right? So that's interesting. But of course, overall, the sun in the 12th is an opportunity to look at your own healing and to even explore the fantasy world, right? To imagine, to dream, to visualize, etc. Right. So Mars then will enter Pisces on the 22nd of March. And this will be the dispositor of the sun. So from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March for you, Taurus, Mars will be in Aquarius. So this is about considering what have you learned when it comes to your group involvements at work or when it comes to your public image, right? Your public image and how that's related to community, how it's related to friendships or clubs, thinking about the collective in this way, your role within the collective and how it is that you even make an impact on the world around you. But you see, from the 22nd of March, then all the way up until the end of Aries season, this is also then about groups and clubs, but through a more spiritual view. And whilst Mars in Aquarius was more about how groups and clubs are tied to your reputation and your profession, this then is more about focusing your attention and your goals on, okay, community in a very compassionate way, in a way where you feel spiritually aligned with others. How connected do you feel when it comes to the teams that you're a part of? And is there anything that you feel inspires you in such a way where you feel like you want to make a difference? You feel like you really want to make a change? It could be even quite a hospitable, charitable time for you, Taurus, right? Wanting to really give, wanting to be generous towards others. And then we also see here that there will be the Aries Libra eclipses activating your 12th and 6th houses throughout Aries season. So we're seeing here these notable shifts and changes to do with health related releases, right? Thinking about what you're letting go of when it comes to health, thinking about what you're letting go of when it comes to work, your everyday, your routines, your schedules. But then just as much considering what significant new opportunities are coming up for you when it comes to the inner stuff, the inner work that you've been doing. All the healing, all of the meditating and the reflection that's been happening, even with Chiron there, addressing your wounds, addressing your traumas, your pains. Now, Mercury retrograde will happen then in Aries. So this will be from the 1st until the 25th of April. So this will be a good time period for you to even just journal, listen to music that speaks to you, take some time to think about what inspires you the most through something that's spiritual, through something that's more fantasy related. Yeah, it could be a highly creative time for you, really, Taurus, because it's this behind the scenes energy. It's the energy of, okay, what am I feeling inspired by? What am I passionate about? But it's having that space to go behind the scenes, to be on your own, to get right with yourself when it comes to such matters. And of course, the pre-shadow period will be from the 19th of March until the 1st of April. So do pay attention to what comes up during that time, because it could be that you revisit these areas then during the retrograde. And then we also see here that Venus is in Pisces in the 11th, and they'll be there until the 5th of April for you. So I think this has been a good opportunity for you to consider how you relate, how it is that you sync up, how it is that you truly relate and connect then within community, right? And then with Mars, of course, coming along and following this path, I think there will be that part of it where how do you initiate? How do you assert yourself? How do you take action? But still, I think Venus in Pisces has been very healing for you when it comes to friendships and clubs and groups, and maybe even feeling more spiritually connected with certain people, or even recognizing who you've outgrown as well. Are you moving on from any particular group situation, right? Endings to do with Pisces. And then we see here that from the 5th of April until the rest of the season, for the rest of the season, Venus will be in Aries. So Venus will be in your 12th house. So that will be another part of it where you're getting right with God or with your spiritual values. A good time to even consider self-worth. Of course, Venus is your chart ruler. So that chart ruler energy in the 12th could even have you reflecting upon your sexuality, right? Your sexual drive, even thinking about your physical energy, your physical, so your physical values in this way too. So how that shows up for you behind the scenes. And I do just want to mention as well that for Aries and for Taurus, of course, most of the planets throughout Aries season will be in the Eastern hemisphere too. So I wanted to mention that because, of course, within the Aries section, I did not mention that. Just give me a second before we move on to Gemini. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify then with that, with most of the planets being in the Eastern hemisphere for both Aries and Taurus throughout Aries season, it does seem as if there's more of a focus on, okay, being strong-willed and considering, okay, what is it that drives you and what is it that motivates you? And that can be particularly potent, actually, I would say, especially in the case of Aries. So Aries, you'll have that stellium in the first house, so we can see this. And then for Taurus, you'll have it in the 12th house. So we also see this, but more on there's more of the subconscious searching with Aries in the 12th. All right, so moving on to Gemini. Right. Just give me a moment so I can adjust the times. Gemini, all right. We'll actually begin by exploring the hemisphere. So, most of your planets are going to be in the southern hemisphere. So, for you, I mean, Aries season is going to welcome a greater focus on your ambitions, a greater career focus throughout Aries season, basically. So, many Gemini, you're being a lot more extroverted than usual. But let's break this down. So, with Aries in the 11th house for you, of course, the sun will be in your 11th house throughout Aries season. This is looking at how you lead, how you take action within groups. This is looking at how you stand out within groups as well, and aligning yourself with your passions and your motivations when it comes to clubs and groups. It could be a very, very social time for many Gemini, a time period of excitement, a time period of passion, enthusiasm, a time period of inspiration. But this is all happening then when it comes to people, people getting out there. This is about your interactions with the public and thinking about the collective. Showing your face a great deal, I would say, Gemini. Now, we also want to look at Mars. So Mars, of course, is the dispositor of Aries season. So Mars will enter Pisces from the 22nd of March. Now, from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, Mars will be in Aquarius there. So, coming to the end of this transit, consider what you have learned when it comes to your publications, how you broadcast, how you teach. Gemini, you tend to be people who you like to have your fingers in many different pies, but it's also relating and connecting with people that are quite different and quite unique. You like to hear unique perspectives from others. You're quite open in this way. So do consider your goals and your actions when it comes to these areas. But you see, as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, the intentions, the goals shift then to that of, okay, career, your professional life, your public image, your reputation, your ambitions, your achievements. But oh my gosh, I mean, Mars being in the 10th, it's like, yes, okay, wanting to be driven and wanting to make things happen. Of course, even with Mars being in Pisces, there is a fluidity to this. There's a flexibility, there's changeable qualities to this. But I think there is still the desire present. There is the real push to want to improve, to want to actually upskill, right? To want to give it all you've got when it comes to your ambitions, right? And of course, with Pisces being in the 12th, many of you Gemini, you know, your ambitions, your achievements are related to that of things that are creative, right? Being creative, being compassionate, being spiritual, or just seeing that your spiritual values are aligned with what it is that you do in the world. Even just thinking about spirituality in general here. Now, the eclipses will happen in your 11th and 5th houses throughout Aries season. So we're seeing these significant new opportunities when it comes to letting go within romantic relationships, what you're moving on from when it comes to certain hobbies, the resets that are coming up as well to do with joy and happiness, children too. And then we see here as well the new significant shifts to do with community, to do with teamwork, to do with the collective and the differences that you make in the world, how you wish to change the world. Mercury then will retrograde in Aries from the 1st until the 25th of April. So this will happen in your 11th house. Do keep in mind that Mercury is your chart ruler. So this retrograde will have you thinking about all the many ideas that you have and that you want to execute when it comes to groups. Just to be cautious of being overly ambitious, or maybe um, being very quick or fast, right? And then it's like it's difficult for you to complete things. With Mercury in Aries, I just want to say Mercury and Aries can often struggle with completing projects. So, especially for you, Gemini, with Mercury being your chart ruler, there could be this extra emphasis on just juggling too many balls, right? Juggling too many projects at once, spreading yourself too wide, and then maybe becoming frustrated or angered by it. But maybe this is also where that self-awareness can help you out a little bit, and where the Mercury retrograde can help you more so come from a place of, okay, let's reflect. Like, let's review this. Let's review all the creative projects that I'm working on. What is actually feasible here? What can I do here? And do keep in mind that the pre-shadow period will be from the 18th of March until the 1st of April. So do consider the pre-shadow period of Mercury, because you could very well revisit a friendship or community matter that comes up during that time. Now, lastly, I want to talk about Venus. So Venus in Pisces there until the 5th of April for you. So you are at the moment considering what it is that you find joy in, what's enjoyable to you, what's pleasurable to you when it comes to career, right? Even thinking about the types of relationships that you're making within the career world, within your professional sphere. What are those connections? What are those unions like? And is there something mutual there? Is there a spiritual connection there? Do you feel secure? Do you feel like things are going well? Or maybe there's something that's coming to a close or a particular ending? Even thinking about financial matters, how you earn, etc. And as I say, this is still something that is ongoing until the 5th of April. And then as Venus enters Aries from the 5th of April all the way up until the end of Aries season, this is then about switching your focus when it comes to your values and when it comes to your finances, switching your focus to that of, okay, I've been considering all of the community stuff, the teamwork stuff. Now it's really time to attract, or now it's really time to make things happen in terms of what I want to gain, in terms of what I want to earn, or maybe even thinking about what you can give, how you can give of yourself, and how you'll even value passion and how you'll value honesty when it comes to the group involvements you're a part of. All right, so we're moving on to Cancer. Cancer. Okay, so for you, most of the planets will be in the southern hemisphere as well. So with most of the planets in the southern hemisphere, there is a greater focus on your career, your ambitions this month, indeed. So let's talk about Aries season for you. Whew, Cancer, there's a lot going on within the area of life related to your career, related to your profession, thinking about your public image, your public presence, leadership qualities when it comes to these areas. Many Cancers throughout Aries season, you're gonna be shining a light on your successes, what you have achieved so far and what you still would like to achieve. Thinking about being goal orientated, thinking about the passion that you share, the passion that you have. And like I say, being a leader, leadership positions, leadership roles, what's aligned for you in this way, what's working well, how do you inspire others around you? And we also want to think about Mars, which is the dispositor of the sun, right? So the dispositor of Aries season, that will enter Pisces from the 22nd of March. But here's the thing, we also want to think about from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March and how Mars has been in Aquarius in the 8th. So many Cancerians, it's about considering what you have learned when it comes to investments, shared resources, shared accounts, what you have learned when it comes to your goals in association with these matters and your ambitions in association with these matters, even thinking about any differences, any innovative ideas with respect to the occult, with respect to psychology, with respect to the unknown, things that are mysterious, investigations, research, all the rest of it. But you see, as Mars does enter Pisces here from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, this is more so about your beliefs. This is more so about your spiritual beliefs, especially. How aligned are you with those? Or this is about just your personal, deeply held beliefs about where you see yourself and thinking about your wants and your drives and your motivations. This could very well be a time period where many cancers are considering your direction, your path, and how that is a part of something bigger. It's a part of how you wish to further yourself, how you wish to expand and grow. This is also about your goals and how they're tied to your teachings and your publications and your knowledge, right? Thinking about seeking higher knowledge, wanting to learn more, wanting to understand what you're learning as well, and being really quite ambitious in this regard. The eclipses, of course, will be happening in your 10th and 4th houses throughout Aries season. So this is going to be quite impactful because we notice here that there are going to be new opportunities for growth when it comes to your careers, when it comes to your professional lives, and even thinking about bosses and managers that you work with, thinking about a certain position or a role that you've been working hard at or you've been waiting for. But at the same time, there are these releases, there are these letting go periods to do with family, to do with home, to do with your emotional needs, your emotional security, your well-being in this regard. What is it that is to be sort of reset or to be looked at? And Mercury retrograde will also happen in Aries from the 1st until the 25th of April. So that's a retrograde for you to go over the plan, go over the business plan, go over the long-term goals you have. Think about your leadership goals, what you want for the future. Think about really your successes, your past successes, your past failures, your past wins. And then how is it you wish to win? How is it that you wish to succeed moving forward? And do remember that from the 18th of March until the 1st of April, Mercury will be in its pre-shadow period. So this is a time period for you to just consider what could come up for you, okay, when it comes to these areas that I previously mentioned, because you most likely revisit something from that time period. And then what we notice lastly for you, Cancer, is Venus. So Venus has been in Pisces there and will continue to be, well, it is in Pisces, will be there until the 5th of April. So right now, up until the 5th of April, Cancerians, this is very much about, okay, all of the deeply held belief stuff, all of the religious stuff, the spiritual stuff, how much value do you place into them? Is there anything that you're wanting to let go of? Anything that you're making peace with? Serenity here, surrendering, surrendering to particular beliefs, maybe that you can't necessarily control anymore, or thinking about how you wish to take everything in, right? How you take everything in this very vast, absorbing way. And considering how it is that you share, how it is that you preach and give to the world, like to give generously based on how you feel and based on the wisdom and the truth and the knowledge that you know. Also a time period of great healing for many Cancerians, right? Great healing, great empathy, But you see, as Venus enters Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the season, for you Cancerians, I think, especially with all the 10th house stuff added, there's just such a focus on making it through, getting the promotion, getting the role, getting the position, whatever it is, reaching far for something exciting, having these real passions and feeling driven about the next step and just wanting to go for it. This is what I'm getting. It's going for the gold energy, I think, for many Cancerians throughout Aries season. Okay, so Leo. Okay, so we notice here that most of the planets are in the southern hemisphere for you. So here we go again. There's such a focus on your career and your ambitions. Leo, let's just try and break this down. I mean, with all this energy in the 9th house, this is about furthering yourself. This is about expanding your knowledge. This is about expanding your worldview and having this me first, I can do it attitude towards these areas, wanting to really challenge yourself, wanting to motivate yourself, and recognizing what actually does motivate you to do things. And what motivates you in terms of being a teacher, in terms of being a mentor to others, right? So let's think about how the sun is your chart ruler. And so the sun being in Aries throughout Aries season, there's just such an emphasis, such a focus on you being that mentor. Being a mentor who not only tells other people how to do things, but you are the mentor who does the thing with others, right? You're very proactive in this way. You're very hands-on in this way, Leo. You want to be in the heart of the excitement, the heart of the action, right? So this is certainly an action-packed month for you, Leo, especially, I mean, fire with fire, right? This Leo rising with all the Aries energy, especially with the chart ruler, it's just, to me, this is a highly fueled, highly action-packed month for you. And I think as well, this is about how it is that you publish your work or how it is that you broadcast your work to others. Right, so from the 22nd of March, Mars will be in Pisces. Right before this happens, though, so from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, Mars will finish its transit in your 7th house. So do consider over the next few days, what have you been learning when it comes to partnership, when it comes to clients and customers, thinking about what differences you've been making, unique changes that you've been bringing to the conversation, and how is it that you stand out essentially as an individual in this regard as well. And just even thinking about community, I feel like a lot of Leos, there's such a focus on community in terms of your goals as well. But you see, as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March all the way up until the rest of Aries season, for many Leos, yes, I said that there's so much about being out there and being in the action, etc. This is also about the inner stuff. This is also about getting right with any unresolved traumas, processing. Oh my gosh, Leo, be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself, take time for your emotional needs and your emotional well-being, recognize when you're triggered, recognize when you're so too caught up in everybody else's traumas and their worries and their woes, their suffering, you being this healer. Now, at the same time, this can be a useful energy in terms of, okay, yes, Leos, you can be such wonderful healers, right? Very intuitive, very spiritual, full of spiritual insight and wisdom. So this can also be a good opportunity for you to consider your goals when it comes to such matters, right? But do just be cautious of becoming so intertwined in unhealthy ways too. Right, so there will be the eclipses then in your ninth and third houses here, Leo. So for you, Leo, there's just more of a focus on learning, but also understanding. There's more of a focus on your everyday environment, your local community, but then also how it is that you expand and broaden yourself, widen yourself, how you grow in this way, how you reach further, right? Wanting to maybe travel, for example. So significant shifts and changes could be coming up for you throughout Aries season in terms of travel, knowledge, higher education, sharing your wisdom with others, how you broadcast and publish, like I was saying. But then also thinking about what you're going to be releasing, what you're going to be easing up on here when it comes to siblings, when it comes to just general chit chat, when it comes to even people pleasing tendencies with respect to everyday conversations. And then the Mercury retrograde will happen from the 1st until the 25th of April in your ninth house. So that will certainly be a great opportunity for you to reflect, to review, to reconsider, okay, how do I want to communicate? How do I want to show up as a teacher? How do I want to show up as a mentor? And having these quick sort of views, actually, these quick ideas that can be really quite profound and useful to you. But then at the same time, I do feel the need to mention you with Chiron. This could be quite a sensitive time, right? This could be a sensitive time for many, right? For you, Leo, it's sensitive in terms of what are your beliefs about yourself, your deeply held beliefs about yourself, and how such things they may be a part of what can hold you back, or they may be connected to potential fears and potential worries that you have or insecurities that you have. So, yeah, it could be a useful time then to really go within and to consider and to challenge possibly what is true versus untrue, right? Now, I also want to mention that the pre shadow period will be from the 18th of March until the 1st of April. So, as Mercury goes through that pre shadow period, just keep in mind what could come up for you, because it could very well be that you will revisit these matters throughout the retrograde. Lastly, we've got Venus. So, Venus has been chilling out in your 8th house, will be there until the 5th of April. All right. So for many Leos, this is about the contemplation and the healing that's going on a very psychic level, on a very emotional level for you. And then, of course, as Venus does enter Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the season, that is going to add even greater fuel. It will add even greater passion and enthusiasm to the story, especially in terms of, okay, how much you value yourself, how much you recognize your worth, and the qualities that you offer, right? What you bring to the table as an individual, especially when it comes to these more broader ways of doing things, thinking about how it is that you reach wider audiences and the kind of impacts that you make on a more larger scale. Okay, so we're moving on to Virgo. Virgo. Okay, so we notice here that most of the planets in your case are in the Western Hemisphere. All right. So, with most of the planets in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of Virgos, this is so much about others. It has been about others. And the season is going to be more about how do you relate? How do you connect with others? This is a time period of teamwork and just having an overall focus on the group or on teams and other people, your relationships in this regard. But here's the thing, Virgo, with so much energy in the 8th house for you throughout Aries season, this is not necessarily the easiest task, right? This is very much a time period of transformation for many Virgos. And of course, that transformation can be very healing. It could be where you're connecting with parts of yourself, especially parts of your body, parts of your energy that you didn't recognize before. There's an integration happening, right? Integrating parts of the self and more so connecting with what really fuels you in life, with what excites you. This task may not be the most comfortable, but as I was saying earlier, it's usually within the uncomfortable spaces that we grow the most. So for many Virgos, this is really about seeing, what are you too afraid of when it comes to growth? And what are you afraid of when it comes to the things that you've outgrown? I think many Virgos are waiting for a push, waiting for an opportunity for them to break free, for them to go on their own path. There's a new path, a new way, a new direction, a new journey for many Virgos this month. But let's try and break this down, because with the sun, right? So the sun is in the 8th house for you. The sun being in the 8th house means there is a shedding happening, right? There is a renewal that's happening. But for that renewal to occur, something needs to budge, something needs to give. There is the death, right? The deaths to do with the 8th house, but there, of course, is the renewal, there's the rebirth. What is it that is dying within you, Virgo? I think that this month, what will be extra clear and extra potent to you is the death of any time when you haven't been honest with yourself. The death of times whenever you have denied your own independence and freedom. The death of times whenever you know within your heart of hearts that confidence, it comes from within, and confidence can be quiet, but yet you don't necessarily connect with that, right? It's an interesting one because I remember I watched a reel recently, and it said about how true confidence is also being able to say that you don't know something. It's being able to say, I don't actually know that. And there's confidence in not knowing something. So to back to you, Virgo, I feel like, yeah, this is certainly a renewal, a rebirth to do with your own confidence, but it's also about what's holding you back when it comes to confidence and self-assurance. Right, so let's think about Mars. So Mars is the dispositor of Aries season, and Mars will enter Pisces from the 22nd of March. But just before that, so from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, we see here that Mars will be in your 6th house. So what have you been learning? What has been coming up for you when it comes to health, your wellness, when it comes to your schedules, work programs, when it comes to just your everyday tasks, anything that is significant, that has significantly, sorry, it's my fault. Woo! Anything that has significantly changed for you, right? And then as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, well, the focus changes more toward, okay, what actions are you taking within your relationships? When are you when are you being passive? How is it that you can be somewhat clear about your intentions and your motivations within relationships? What are you hiding from? What's being hidden from you? There's a lot to do with subconscious programming for you, Virgo, this month, especially with Pisces being in the 7th, thinking about your shadow in this way. But certainly, looking more at how it is that you come across within relationships, and How do you mean to appear within relationships? Okay, so let's also explore the eclipses. So the eclipses are going to happen on your 8th and 2nd houses. So with these eclipses, well, these are part of the bigger story, as we know with the eclipses. But for you, Virgo, we're noticing these significant new changes then when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to emotional bonding. Whew, these areas that can be quite daunting and quite scary, but this is also about welcoming greater vulnerability and how such matters are related to your own healing. And then we also notice the release point, the easing up on, the letting go when it comes to how you earn money, when it comes to how you make a living, thinking also about your skills of relating, your skills of getting on with other people, being diplomatic, thinking about where it is that you compromise in life, maybe a little too much. Right, especially with regard to your self-worth. Just want to say that. Right, so Mercury retrograde will be from the 1st until the 25th of April. Do keep in mind that Mercury is your chart ruler. So this is going to happen in your 8th house. So this will be a good time for you to review then the intimacy stuff, sexual stuff as well. Any sexual healing, any sexual insecurities, sexuality insecurities, anywhere that anything or anywhere that you feel strongly about in terms of your psychology and in terms of your subconscious. So, yeah, there could be a lot trying to come through basically for you, Virgo, throughout Aries season. So, listen to what is trying to push through the subconscious and into your conscious awareness. Maybe such matters will be great tools or catalysts for change, catalysts for growth. And with the pre-shadow period, Brianna, you did ask the question, is Mercury in shadow? It's actually going to be from the 18th of March. So the pre-shadow period will be from the 18th of March until the 1st of April. So for you, Virgo, consider what comes up during this time, because you could very well revisit matters during that time, right? From that time during the Mercury retrograde. And then lastly, for Virgos, we notice here that Venus has been hanging out. Oh, creator, Brianna, you are so funny. We're getting through these, right? We're getting through these. We're doing this. Right. So yes, Venus has been hanging out in your 7th house, Virgo. So certainly a good time period until the 5th of April to just come from a place of softness, right? Welcome softness, welcome this gentleness when it comes to how you approach relationships, even though there is a lot of the raw kind of honest, brutally honest stuff to do with Aries coming through as well, right? Try to find a little bit of balance there. But then, of course, Venus will enter Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the season. So for many Virgos, it can be quite a sexy time for many Virgos. Quite a sexy time. Healing also, though, right? Healing, but yeah, it could be where you are exploring parts of your sexuality that are like in a daring way, basically. In a daring way, in a risky way, but being brave. Being brave about what comes through. And even major self-worth transformations coming through. Financial transformations too for Virgos. Right, so we're moving on to Libra next. Libra. All right, so you have most of your planets in the Western Hemisphere. Similar to Virgo, just a lot of focus on relationships. Perfect for you, right, Libra? How you relate to other people, how you connect with others on this level. But here's the thing: You've also got a stellium here in the seventh house. So all these planets gathering in the seventh house for you. There's just such a focus on partnership, contracts, agreements, settlements. I mean, it could even be that matters related to divorce and separations are coming up for some Libras. But essentially, this is about you within it all, right? There's still a focus on the self, there's still a focus on me. Even though there's so much of that, the other present, the other energy present through how all these planets, or most of the planets, are within the Western Hemisphere. But the other thing about it is addressing your shadow in terms of assertion, your shadow in terms of how you stand up for yourself, and your shadow in terms of what you're really passionate about, too. Being honest with yourself about your passions and your drives. Do you perhaps, in a subconscious way, rely on others to kind of motivate you and get you to do things? But how can you connect with that energy within yourself or on your own terms? And can you also perhaps be quite impatient without realizing it, Libra? So, as the sun travels through your seventh house throughout Aries season, yeah, I would say that this can be quite a powerful month in terms of relating to other people, wanting to get along, wanting to cooperate, reaching some type of compromise if need be. But it's also, I feel, with the sun in the seventh, trying to keep in mind times whenever you can compromise a little too much, or thinking about when you put your own sort of needs or desires to the side as a way to suit other people's. And you're learning a lot about this, actually, Libra, with the South Node being in your sign, and even the lunar eclipse will happen in your sign throughout Aries season. So yeah, you've been learning a lot about this healthy sense of give and take within relationships as well, and when you can maybe compromise a little bit too much. um or even just recognizing times whenever you agree, but really you mean to disagree with other people. Right. So Mars will be the dispositor of this season, and that's going to be in your sixth house. So just before Mars enters Pisces on the 22nd of March, we see here that at the beginning of Aries season, Mars will still be in Aquarius. So do consider what has been coming up for you here at the beginning of the season, Libra, in terms of children, your creativity, your passions, your interests, what lights you up, what brings you joy. There could be something new that was ushered in, something innovative, something very different. And so as Mars does enter Pisces from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, there's then more of a focus upon, okay, your everyday tasks, your everyday goals rather, and how you execute those goals, how you tackle those goals in such a way where you're trying to also consider not losing yourself in them either, becoming overwhelmed, maybe being able to delegate some tasks and roles. And I think as well, this is a good opportunity for you to take some time for your health, right? To take some time for your emotional body, your emotional well being, your spiritual values, your spiritual practices as well. Considering your daily rituals in this regard for you, Libra. Even with Venus being in Pisces as well until the 5th of April, you've been doing this. You've been perhaps meditating more, or making more time for mindfulness, or making more time to check in with your emotional body, your emotional well being. Great time for healing for many Libras. Yeah, just great time to contemplate, to make some time for contemplation in terms of your everyday routines. And of course, the eclipses will happen in the first and seventh houses for you. So, major shifts, major new openings and opportunities to do with partnership, to do with clients and customers, and who you work with and who you team up with. And thinking even about how you can be somewhat selfish, in a good way, right? To be selfish, to put yourself first at times when it comes to partnerships, but then at the same time, seeing what you're letting go of, what you're releasing when it comes to, well, your life path, when it comes to your identity, when it comes to how you relate to other people, and how maybe this is seeing, oh, how you're not so aligned with certain people or certain values or ways of doing things. So how other people relate, etc. Maybe it's like, just don't really connect, don't really see it anymore. Even just changing something about your attitudes or your behaviors just could change, or your outlook could change when it comes to certain relationships in your life. And we also see here that Mercury retrograde will happen from the 1st of April until the 25th of April in your seventh house. So that will be a good opportunity for you to go over a few contracts, deals that you're making. Do be cautious though in terms of business deals in this way, and just maybe go over them very carefully, right? Thinking even about how Mercury and Aries can be quite quick to make decisions. Now, I know you do tend to wear your options, Libra, but I think that retrograde could bring with it something about urgency. It's like, oh, that urgent, urgent, urgent. But just be cautious in this regard, okay? Especially if other people are trying to make you think that certain things are urgent when they're not really, considering where you're feeling pushed, considering what pressures maybe are being added, but in unnecessary ways. So, yes, I think this could be a retrograde where it's about, okay, time to review, time to reflect a little here in terms of others, in terms of deals and agreements that are to be made and secured. And do also remember the pre shadow period from the 18th of March until the 1st of April. The pre shadow period here is good to keep in mind because you could very well revisit a situation that comes up during this time during the Mercury retrograde. And just one more quick thing I want to mention then. As I was saying, Venus has been hanging out in your sixth house. You see, this could even be where up until the 5th of April, you're ending something, right? Something is changing, something is ending when it comes to a particular everyday process, everyday system that you have, right? You're making peace with something. And then as Venus enters Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the month, whoa, your chart ruler, which is Venus, right in the seventh house there, could be very, very powerful and very beautiful and supportive in terms of deals, which is kind of, it's an interesting one because, like I said, with Mercury retrograde, it's still important to reflect, right? To be somewhat cautious as well. But Venus is still adding a quality of, ooh, this is appealing. Ooh, this is attractive. Maybe just be cautious of how much you're spending this month, Libra. Okay, so moving on to Scorpio. Yes, Aries and Taurus have been done. Just, yeah, watch the replay. Thank you very much, creator, for saying that. Okay, so Scorpio. Moving on to you. All right, so again, most of the planets are within the Western Hemisphere. Such a big focus on relationships, teamwork, and so on, right? So in your case, Scorpio, there's just a lot to do with work, the pressures of work, the responsibilities of work, all the tasks that are to be done, but also just feeling a bit of burnout. This one I'm getting Scorpios this month. They're feeling burnt out. They're feeling underappreciated. They're feeling just a lack of enthusiasm. They're feeling a lack of inspiration. But hey, you know what? With the sun traveling through the sixth house for you, it could be that you're starting to feel more inspired, or you're feeling a little bit more like, okay, things are moving and there is action and I'm in the heart of it. It could be where you're quite determined this month, Scorpio, determined when it comes to your work related goals, or determined when it comes to your health related goals as well. Maybe seeing what significant changes and shifts are happening there on a health level, on an everyday level, on a ritual level too. Considering any types of leadership positions you're in, or how you can be a leader when it comes to standing up for your own health and, well, considering your body essentially, right? Your body and your energy levels too. Now, Mars, which is the dispositor of Aries season, that's going to be in your fifth house. So there will be a great focus and drive when it comes to your hobbies, your creativity, when it comes to your self-expression. You could very well lose yourself in art and your creativity in this way throughout Aries season. Now, from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, we're coming to the end of Mars being in your fourth house. So, what have you been learning when it comes to the freedom that you seek within the home? When it comes to your individuality and how that shows up within the home? Thinking about not wanting to conform, for example. And as then Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, yes, Mars is your chart ruler, Scorpio. So this could be quite an inspirational time in terms of following your bliss, following your heart, following your passions, your interests, losing yourself in your interests. So that could be quite useful, right? Even to kind of help you with all of the work related stress, the possible health stresses that are coming up as well with all the Aries, right? And I also want to say that the eclipses are happening in your 6th and 12th houses. So we're seeing here that you will be releasing matters related to relationship fears, subconscious relationship fears. You will be making peace with certain spiritual values that you no longer align with, or thinking about the spiritual values of certain partners and how they no longer align with you. Of course, those partners could also be business related, right? It doesn't just have to be about, romance or love. So there could be these relationship matters that you're easing up on, basically. Maybe behind the scenes, out of the public eye. People don't necessarily see, these parts of it or these parts of yourself. And at the same time, welcoming and embracing new impactful changes and shifts when it comes to your everyday stuff, right? Thinking about your work, thinking about your services, what you offer, how you perform your everyday tasks, your productivity levels, how well you're eating, exercising, just, revamping the whole works, like revamping your energy levels, thinking about what you can do to really help yourself to heal, right? Chiron will also be conjunct the solar eclipse, of course. So there is a great deal of healing coming in here for Scorpios and for everyone with Chiron. But I did want to mention that for you, Scorpio. Right. So Mercury retrograde will happen in Aries from the 1st until the 25th of April. And that's going to be in your 6th house as well. So that's a good time to, revisit a possible conversation with a boss or an employer or an employee, thinking about coworker relationships. Okay, maybe there's some conversations that have not been finalized yet, or maybe this is about taking a closer look at how it is that you communicate as a leader, how it is that people listen to you as a leader, how it is that you inspire other people as well with your words, so there could be some significant changes, especially through a lens of really being honest and truthful, and how it is that you come across as passionate, and how it is that you come across as encouraging, right? Encouraging to your staff, encouraging to your clients, and so on. But this is also about revisiting the health stuff, right? Maybe even thinking about your mental health, right, Scorpio? This could be a time period where there is something about the mental health arena being important and significant. So do keep that in mind. And I also want to mention that with Mercury's shadow period, so the pre-shadow period will be from the 19th of March until the 1st of April. Sorry, the 18th of March, my mistake. From let me see. The 19th of March, my mistake. Wow, Brianna, you said, is Mercury in its pre-shadow period yet? Whew. I just want to clarify. I know it probably doesn't really matter. It's a day apart. So the pre-shadow period will be from, I need to double check that. It's around the 18th, 19th of March, right? But anyway, we're going with it. So from that time period up until the 1st of April, that will be the pre-shadow period. So just keep in mind what could come up for you, because you could very well revisit a situation from that time period. All right. Now, lastly, for you, Scorpio, let's finish this for you. Right. So let's think about Venus. right? So Venus has been hanging out in your fifth house. All right, beautiful. Beautiful time for being artistic, for being expressive, for following your dreams, following your visions, and just feeling inspired when it comes to your art, right? Inspired when it comes to things that you're painting, when it comes to things that you're writing. Music as well could be very much a source of inspiration for you right now, Scorpio. Even thinking about children in this regard, right? There's something about the the feelings that you have about your children and connecting with your children too. But then from the 5th of April until the end of Aries season, we see here that Venus will be in your 5th house, or your 6th house rather, your 6th house. So that will add some more energy and enthusiasm and eagerness and drive and willpower when it comes to all of these work health related mattered stuff. And I think with Venus, it's gonna welcome a part of it where, okay, what do I really value here, right? What do I really value when it comes to these areas, and how can I focus on putting myself first? Okay, we're feeling now, we can't even speak, people don't know what you're Yeah, we're feeling it. Okay. Okay, so we're moving on to Sagittarius. Too funny. Too funny. Sagittarius. All right. So things are changing, because what we're noticing is that most of the planets for you are in the southern hemisphere. Okay. So with most of the planets in the southern hemisphere, there's more of this focus on being, oh, the northern hemisphere. Sorry, the northern hemisphere. See? See? Oh, geez. Maybe I need to get some rest. That could be it. Maybe I need some rest today. But it's okay. We can't all have perfect days, can we? Right, let me restart. So, for you, Sagittarius, we noticed that most of the planets are in the northern hemisphere. So, with most of the planets in your northern hemisphere, it seems that this is more about your private life, right? This is more about being introspective, being more introverted than usual for many Sagittarians. So let's think about how there's such a focus on the 5th house for you, such a focus on the 5th house, where it's about all of the attention and the energy that you're pouring into your children, you're pouring into your hobbies, your creations, your creativity, thinking about time off, thinking about holidays and celebrations and parties. And it just seems like there's one thing after the other, Sagittarius. Even whenever it is that you get some time off, it's spent doing something, right? It's spent completing goals, completing tasks that you really want to get done. And essentially, there's just a lot happening. Okay, there's a lot happening within this area of life that is so much about fun and play and entertainment and enjoyment. It's just that there's always something to fill that, right? You want to just pack everything in. So yes, um and then we also see here that with the sun essentially being in your 5th house throughout Aries season, it is about your spirit, right? You are this other fire sign, so it's about igniting your spirit, following your passions, following your creative spark, going for it, and having fun, right? I would just say many Sagittarians this month, it's like, I want to have fun, I want to be free, I want to go after the things that I really want. I want to make things happen. Yes, yes, yes. Being the yes person, perhaps for many Sagittarians. Now, Mars, which is the dispositor of Aries season, that will enter your 4th house, right? So before Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March, from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, we see here that Mars will be finishing up in your third. So, what have you been learning, Sagittarius, when it comes to sibling relationships, right? When it comes to maybe being an individual with respect to siblings, with respect to cousins, thinking also about your individuality and how that relates to your environment, right? Your immediate environment, your neighborhood, any differences, any changes, major changes that have been coming up there, how it is that you innovate, how it is that you've been reinventing yourself when it comes to these areas. And then as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March all the way up until the end of the season, we see here that your fourth house is going to be activated. So I think this is drawing more of the energy toward family and home, your connections with God, but thinking about all the things that you're doing within the home when it comes to these areas, when it comes to these matters, and considering as well your spiritual values, as Venus has also been in Pisces, right? So Venus has been hanging out in your fourth house. And so I think a lot of Sagittarians, you're spending more time just trying to reflect and trying to go within and to think about, okay, like, how am I really feeling? What about my emotions? What about my healing? What am I trying to focus on a very spiritual level here? So there's a lot going on within the home, basically, for Sagittarians. And I think a lot of it has to do with serenity and surrender. And we also see here that the eclipses, so the eclipses are going to happen in your 11th and 5th houses throughout Aries season for you, Sagittarius. So we're seeing here significant opportunities and shifts when it comes to the friendship stuff. So thinking about what you're letting go of, what you're releasing, thinking about how you're easing up on certain community attitudes or certain hopes and wishes that you have for the future. What is it that you are moving on from or easing up on a little bit? And also welcoming the new, welcoming major insights to do with the likes of children, your inner child as well, thinking about your creativity, aligning with your passions in this way, and having a me first attitude toward these matters as well, thinking about your ego too. Now, Mercury retrograde will happen from the 1st until the 25th of April. So that's going to be in your 5th house. So this will be a good opportunity for you to just consider, okay, any conversations that you want to have with romantic partners, thinking about the love department with the 5th house, anything that hasn't been said yet, anything you wish to clarify, any new insights that can come up, or just you'll be retracing your steps essentially when it comes to conversations within your romantic relationships and conversations when it comes to children as well. Maybe thinking about decisions that are to be made for your children. And also, I would say thinking about decisions to be made when it comes to your hobbies and how it is that you enjoy yourself. There could be an old hobby that you revisit or that you start to pick up again, and you're so interested in it, you're so eager about it. Now, there will be the pre-shadow period. Here we go. so that will be from around the 18th, 19th of March. And so up until the 1st of April, do consider what comes up for you, Sagittarius, when it comes to these matters that I just talked about, because you'll most likely revisit them during the Mercury retrograde. Now, lastly, for you, Sagittarius, we see here, like I said, Venus has been hanging out in the 4th house for you. So perhaps there has been a few family related, emotional related matters that you're coming to peace with, right? You're coming to terms with, perhaps relationships with certain parental figures in your life, or thinking even about the type of parent that you are as well, any healing that's been happening for you, anything that you are sort of clarifying in a very forgiving way. And also then as Venus enters Aries, so this will be from the 5th of April for the rest of the season. This will be in your 5th house. So Venus in Aries for you is going to add some enthusiasm and passion to that of romance and love, right? And perhaps as well, knowing really what you value and what you desire when it comes to these areas, even thinking about the passions to do with your creativity and your projects, right? Just having this, I can do this attitude. But again, just remember with the retrograde of Mercury, just take your time, take your time to really consider your options. Okay, so we're moving on to Capricorn. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Do you know what? I do agree with you, Brianna. There is no such thing as a perfect day. No, there is not. So, we have Capricorn. Moving on to you. Thank you for being here. Just, I want to say this is a different approach that I've made, and I really wanted to follow the path of the sun. And I hope that, you've been finding your horoscopes to be helpful today. All right, Capricorn. So most of the planets for you are in the northern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. So again, this is very much about your privacy. This is very much about your alone time, being a lot more introspective. Oh my gosh, and this is further highlighted and emphasized with all of this energy in the 4th house for you throughout Aries season. There's such a focus on you, right? Your emotional needs, your emotional drives, what makes you feel secure, what makes you feel happy and safe, right? Capricorn, this is so much about you going within and really taking time to reflect on what you want and what is best for you, as well as spending more time with family, spending more time within the home, possibly being more aligned with what's comfortable, or maybe as well being really very assertive and passionate within the home, being a doer within the home, just making things happen, bam, 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 right? Having all these ambitions and these goals to do with home, right? Thinking about property as well. And of course, with this being Aries season, as the sun travels through the 4th house for you, this is where we're seeing the light. This is where we're seeing your purpose. This is where we're seeing more of this attitude of, okay, ego, me, this is the focus. This is what I want. And I would also say perhaps celebrating, right? Celebrating these family matters, right? Making time for family, having more of an outlook of, I want to be around people that I love and that I trust, right? Just wanting to connect then with those that are a part, they're within your close family circle. And that could literally be certain family members, but of course that could be related to other people, in your life who feel like family, right? But you see, Mars, which is the dispositor of Aries season, that is within the 3rd house, and that will be from the 22nd of March. Now, just before Mars enters Pisces, it will be in Aquarius from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March. So, what have you been learning then, Capricorn, when it comes to your resources, your earnings, how you spend money, how you budget, how you save, all of that good stuff? Thinking about how you've been innovating, thinking about how you've been thinking outside of the box when it comes to these matters, and how your goals are very much tied in with all of this. And then as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March, then for the rest of Aries season, what happens here is that the focus is more on education, learning, spiritual learning, thinking about how your spiritual practices are so mental for you, thinking about meditation, thinking about journaling, considering what healing's been happening as well on this more mental level, but being a doer when it comes to such matters too. Thinking also about the compassion and the support and the empathy that you share and that you physically show when it comes to siblings and cousins and the neighbors that you have as well. Thinking also about your goals and how they're related to that of your local area, right? Thinking about people within your local area and how you extend some type of hospitality toward them, or just being quite charitable as well, being quite generous and giving. And then we also notice that the eclipses are going to be happening in your 10th and 4th houses. So there's a lot coming up for you, Capricorn, right? We're seeing here notable shifts and opportunities to do with home and family, to do with your privacy, to do with residency, right? To do with your ancestry. But then also, what are you letting go of? What are you easing up on when it comes to your profession, when it comes to your career and well, successes, certain successes that you thought you wanted, but you don't want anymore, certain achievements and long term goals that you're sort of weighing out and you're kind of considering, oh, that doesn't really align with me as much anymore. So there's some reflection to be done for you within these areas, Capricorn. And then Mercury retrograde will happen in Aries from the 1st until the 25th of April. So this is going to be in your 4th house. So that will be a time period indeed. Looking over the documents, looking over what's being said, especially considering what's being said amongst family members, or reading over important contracts and agreements to do with residency, to do with land and property, and considering also anything that you wish to revisit and look over. When it comes to your emotional needs, how it is that you communicate your emotional needs and what hasn't been looked at or addressed so much, and how can you be honest and truthful about such matters too. And even just thinking about being a caregiver, right? How you could very well be a caregiver, right? You're being a nurturer, for example, being a parent toward your own children. Perhaps there's something that you'll revisit within these areas, right? And thinking along the lines of leadership, then thinking along the lines of how you search yourself, how you take charge when it comes to the children that you have, or when it comes to how you parent. Now, Mercury will be in its pre-shadow period from around the 18th, 19th of March until the 1st of April. So do consider what comes up during this time, because you'll most likely revisit something from this time period when Mercury is retrograde. And lastly, we see here for you, Capricorn, Venus has been hanging out in Pisces in the 4th house, or in the 3rd house rather. So this is quite enjoyable, So Venus will be in Pisces, in the 3rd house for you until the 5th of April. So this, I feel, is looking at you just losing yourself in a good song, being very creative, having moments of great reflection in terms of how you speak. Maybe just getting out your thoughts and seeing them on paper, or just seeing where your thoughts take you in terms of having this stream of consciousness, having these spiritual insights. Possibly as well thinking about the acts of kindness from neighbors, the acts of kindness within relationships, and how they show up on a very everyday local level. And then as Venus does enter Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of Aries season, this is where we're going to notice this greater focus, more focus on that of the family stuff, the ancestry stuff, the residency stuff, and just maybe even wanting to really push to make things happen and feeling really I value these things and I want them to go well, and I have such high expectations for these things, and having this attitude of, yes, I can do this. But of course, with Mercury being retrograde, it's also important to keep some room for reviewing, right? To kind of go over what is or isn't being discussed. Hello, Eddie. Welcome to you. I hope you're doing well. Hi. So we're moving on to Aquarius now. Aquarius. All right. So here we notice most of the planets are in the northern hemisphere. So very similar to these other signs previously. Thinking about your privacy, right? Thinking about being introspective, taking some time out of the public eye, being more introverted than usual. But let's break this down. So there's a lot of energy here during Aries season with the third house activated for you. So much being driven, being derived into the third house. So, let's even just think about this in terms of, okay, your local environment, where you live, right? Your city, your town, your neighborhood. Do you feel inspired? Do you feel good? Do you feel motivated? Do you feel like, you know what? I have everything I could possibly want. And is it that there are some goals that you even have when it comes to such matters? Any certain significant shifts to do with your your everyday environment? Even just thinking about where you go for coffee, thinking about where you go to the gym, thinking about how you drive. Maybe many Aquarians, you're feeling a lot more confident about the way you drive, or you're feeling a lot more confident about the way you speak, the way you share information, the way you connect information as well. Maybe you're just being a lot more authentic, you're being a lot more raw, right? And you're trying not to overthink it necessarily. Or perhaps this is even looking at the amount of healing that you have been doing when it comes to your voice, when it comes to your mind, of course, with Chiron being in the third house for you. So, yes, Aries season, as the sun travels through this third house for you, Aquarius, I think it's just this attitude of, I'm not gonna really hold back as much, or I'm not gonna care as much about the delivery. I just want to be direct and to be as straightforward as I possibly can. And as I say, there could be something about confidence, right? So being a confident speaker, being a confident communicator, being bold, being quite daring in terms of how you communicate, and even just finding purpose in the things that you really want to educate people on, and having this bravery, I suppose, having this courage, this courageous spirit that says, I want to share with others, I want to teach others this certain thing. Maybe it's a certain thing it's quite general and it doesn't need to be overly complicated. But yeah, there's just something about the risk. There's something about taking this jump, making a change when it comes to how you speak. And with Mars then being the dispositor of the sun in Aries, we see here Mars is in the second house. It'll be there from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season. But just before that happens, so from the 19th of March until the 22nd of March, we see here that Mars is just finishing up in your sign. So consider, what have you been learning when it comes to how you assert yourself, how you take action, how driven are you? Is it that you've been feeling especially driven when it comes to your life path and your aims, your ambitions? Is it that you're feeling extra courageous and brave about making a change, making a difference in your life, especially as Pluto's also been in your sign? Is it that you're really pushing to want to transform, to want to face your fears, to want to face your inner demons, to want to push yourself outside of your comfort zone? And then as Mars enters Pisces from the 22nd of March for the rest of Aries season, well, there's going to be more of a focus then on financial freedom, financial independence, financial growth, but it's doing so with compassion. It's doing so with empathy. It's doing so with integrity. It's also just considering that hey, you know what? It's not just about making a quick buck, right? It's not just about, pushing for money, 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 money. It's more about, okay, well, how can I do this from a place of real spiritual maturity, right? Spiritual growth. I suppose that's the other thing. Saturn has been hanging out in in Pisces too, which that is another part of it for everyone. Saturn is still in Pisces. And so that's going to add a layer of responsibility and integrity and respect to our horoscopes. But yes, with Mars entering this sign for you, it is about, okay, I'm driving forward with my passions here and what I really want to achieve, right? To be ambitious in this way when it comes to your finances and your materials. But it's still coming at things from a place of insight, from a place of emotional insight, emotional understanding, emotional awareness. And then we also see that the eclipses are happening on the Aries Libra axis in your third and ninth houses. So for you, Aquarius, we are seeing the notable changes to do with the ways in which you speak and communicate, the ways to do with the ways in which you move within your local area and neighborhood, and maybe just feeling a lot more secure within yourself or confident about how you come across, or maybe even just having a greater attitude of like, just let that go. It's not a big deal. It's really not. Like, who really cares? Nobody noticed. It's completely fine. And then also with the ninth house part of it, we're seeing the notable letting go, the notable letting go, the notable easing up quality when it comes to how you share, how you broadcast, how you publish, even thinking about having a much more balanced view, like being very balanced in how you do present information to others, present information to the world, or even thinking about what you'll be releasing in terms of just what no longer aligns with your belief system. And maybe a part of that is tied to truth and justice and karma. Okay, and then we also notice here that Mercury retrograde will happen in Aries from the 1st until the 25th of April. So that retrograde will be in your third house. So, that could be an interesting one. I mean, this could be where you're having conversations with siblings about old matters, old topics, or that could be where you are revisiting a local area or a local neighborhood, somewhere to do with the past, a place that reminds you of the past, or just a place that you haven't went to or visited in a while. And it's like, okay, it's time to go back to that place and maybe make peace, or maybe gain a fresh perspective. Or maybe it's about revisiting how it is that you commute, how it is that you drive, how it is that you get from A to B, essentially. So there could be some retracing of your steps there, or just significant conversations with particular neighbors, something that comes to the surface that's to do with a past situation. Maybe that past situation is something that's actually kind of uncomfortable, right? You think about Chiron with the healing and looking at your wounds, digging deeper into your wounds in this way, addressing them. And with Mercury also being direct from around the 18th, 19th until the 1st of April, with it being in its pre-shadow period, just keep in mind what will come up for you, Aquarius, because it could be that you will revisit a situation from that time period when Mercury is retrograde. And then lastly, for you, Aquarius, we've got Venus. Venus has been hanging out in the sign of Pisces. It will be there until the 5th of April. This is quite a beautiful one for you in terms of, okay, this could be quite valuable, right? This is about your skills and how your skills are related to intuition, right? Many Aquarians right now, you are being inspired, right? You're being inspired to flow. You're being inspired to just follow a vision. And it's not really about thinking so much. It's just like, right, okay, I'm seeing this in my mind, and you bring it to life. This is great energy for this. This is also why I really suggest checking in on the daily forecasts over at Patreon, because we break down these aspects day by day, you know, There's only so much time that we have to get through these horoscopes, and I can only go into so much depth and so much detail. But this is where we also want to look at aspects, right, through on a day-to-day basis. Because the reason why I bring this up is because, right, Venus in Pisces creating the sextile to Jupiter and Taurus. I mean, that's going to be wonderful for us. But yes, Aquarius, that could be very insightful for you in terms of, okay, you're being inspired to follow certain creative paths, right? To enhance, to add to your creativity, your creative skills, your imaginative skills, your visionary skills, and possibly earning money from such matters. And then, as Venus enters Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the season, this will happen in your 3rd house. So, this is going to add even more of this eagerness, this enthusiasm, this courageousness when it comes to those sibling conversations, when it comes to the neighborhood stuff I was mentioning. And even just thinking about the love that you're going to have for speaking, the love that you're going to have for like communicating with people and getting into discussions and being a part of the conversation. It's like, you're feeling really inspired. But again, Mercury retrograde also says try your best to think things through. So, lastly, we've got Pisces. Pisces, you are last. You are last. All right. So, for you, Pisces, what we actually notice is that most of the planets are within the Eastern Hemisphere. So this is certainly a strong will time for many Pisces this season, being self-motivated, being self-starters, being action-orientated. And where does the action happen for Pisces this season? Ooh, it happens within your 2nd house. Okay, so let's think about it more so from through a lens of the internal, right? So let's think about how this is you getting right with yourself in terms of self-worth. This, honestly, the Aries season for many Pisces this year is about self-worth upgrades, is about the healing that's happening when it comes to your self-worth. It's about exploring what is uncomfortable, what is unfamiliar when it comes to your self-worth, but having this attitude of, I'm going for it, I'm doing it, I'm pushing myself, I'm going to be brave. And also, I want to mention what a great time for many Pisces in terms of your creativity skills, right? I mean, Aries in the 2nd house for you Pisces certainly shows just how creative you can be and how your creativity really shows. It shows through your work, it shows through a job well done, it shows through how you earn money, just you even being recognized as a leader in terms of your finances and how how you spend, being a leader in terms of how you budget and save, right? You can be quite independent, I think, financially. You can sort of fend for yourself, defend what is yours, stand up for what is yours, and protect what is yours, right? And we also want to look at Mars, which would be the dispositor of the sun. So the dispositor of Aries season. So that is, of course, in Pisces in your sign. So that's going to be from the 22nd of March for the rest of the season. But just before that happens, so let's think about the 19th of March until the 22nd of March. Mars is just finishing up in your 12th house. So Pisces, just taking your time to really reflect upon, okay, what have my dreams been saying? Have they been different lately? Have they been trying to tell me something? Has my sleeping been a little bit different or a bit unusual? Maybe there's something about exploring your fears in terms of being unconventional, or thinking also about the subconscious sort of drives that you have, these subconscious drives to do with your independence and freedom. And we're going to see a greater push for these things, a greater renewal, many renewals actually, when it comes to these things as Pluto continues its transit throughout your 12th house over the years to come. But as Mars does enter your sign from the 22nd of March for the rest of the season, well, this is certainly a good opportunity to drive forward, a good opportunity to be somewhat intentional and ambitious and determined about the next step. And even with Saturn there being in Pisces, there is a sense of structure and responsibility present. But even with Mars and Pisces, that can go through its waves, right? Mars and Pisces is more about the flow. It's more about, okay, I'm feeling energized one moment, but I also recognize when a different um, tide comes in, or when there's a different way to go. And it's just going with that. It's just flowing with those tides, right? It's just having this attitude, even of trust the unknown, trust what could be, right? Welcoming the possibilities, opening yourself up to new horizons, to new visions, to new hopes, to new dreams, Pisces. It can be a very inspirational season for you indeed. Now, I want to also mention these eclipses. So the eclipses are happening in your second and eighth houses, Pisces. So let's think about how this is ushering in, these eclipses are ushering in major renewals and opportunities to do with your financial growth, to do with your financial prospects, even again, thinking about your skills, your talents, thinking about what you bring, what you offer in terms of, well, your individual skills. And also thinking about your self-worth again, right? The self-worth healing, the self-worth upgrades that are happening, looking at potential triggers as well. And we also notice what you will be releasing, right? Significant releasing points to do with union, to do with partnerships, even considering anything that's hidden, anything that's mysterious when it comes to partnerships, right? Certain truths, possible hard truths to look at, to address within yourself. And perhaps as well, looking at the releasing, the letting go in terms of shared resources, how you share with others, maybe where you share with others a little bit too much. Right. So then we also see here Mercury retrograde happening in Aries from the 1st of April until the 25th of April. So this will happen in your second house. So this is a good time period for you to maybe go over your bank accounts, go over your budgets, go over how you spend, go over even, the amount of money that you're earning and how that aligns with what you're spending, right? Your income, your outgoings. Think also about just banking in general. Think about as well any significant agreements or contracts that you've got lying somewhere that you maybe haven't looked at in a while, or anything you've been avoiding, or anything that you just haven't picked up on. Just take your time and go over these matters. And maybe as well, this could be about you reconnecting with an old sort of skill, an old way of even comforting yourself. The second house can also be how we comfort ourselves, how we feel secure. So there could be a matter related to these, right? And again, it's about reconnecting. It's about revisiting these areas. And what I also want to mention about this is that the pre-shadow period will be from the 18th, 19th of April until the 18th, 19th of March until the 1st of April. So the pre-shadow period, just keep in mind, what comes up, because you could very well revisit a matter from around that time during the Mercury retrograde. And then lastly, we see here Venus. Oh, so Venus has been hanging out in your sign, Pisces, and it will continue to be there until the 5th of April. So for this time period, it's attractive, it's beautiful. So thinking about the types of people you're attracting, reading the vibes, right? Creator says Venus return vibes. So vibes, Pisces, you're all about the vibes. So Venus and Pisces could very well look at beautiful vibes, welcoming, really like charming, beautiful experiences into your life. But just of course, as anything goes in terms of Pisces, it's like be wary of the projections, be wary of the subconscious stuff, the mirroring, what's being projected onto you, what's yours, what belongs to others, romanticizing things. But at the same time, I think a little bit of romanticizing can be useful, especially if it is that you are just you feel inspired, right? You're looking for something creative, or you're feeling extra creative this month. It's like, okay, use Venus in Pisces as a way to maybe just enjoy those creative pleasures. Even just romantically, this can be quite beautiful, especially in terms of showing up for others in very compassionate and loving ways. And then, as Venus does enter Aries from the 5th of April for the rest of the season for you Pisces, this is going to add extra flavor to all of the Aries passion and eagerness and enthusiasm when it comes to your resources and your valuables and your possessions. But maybe as well thinking more along the lines of, okay, well, what is mine? Like, what actually does belong to me? What do I love? What do I connect with on a very personal level? What are my interests in this way? What am I skilled at? And how confident am I in these things? But of course, I also want to mention this could be a good opportunity for financial gain in this way with Venus in the second. But of course, with the retrograde, it's still about taking some time to review. Okay, Cosmic Warriors, so that's everybody. We've went through all of the horoscopes for Aries season. Thank you so much for being here. Now, if you would like extra content, of course, there is the Patreon. So there's actually a video up now, which is ad-free. It's the square. It's all about the square in the birth chart and how to read it. But like I was saying earlier, for daily forecasts, you can join the Patreon. It's £2 per month to gain access to the daily forecasts and behind the scenes content. There are many weeks, I think 25 weeks of content available over there. And like I said, throughout these horoscopes, I go into the aspects on a daily basis. So with the horoscopes, I may not, with the details of the aspects, you'll be able to find them basically over on the daily forecasts. Right. So thank you so much. And also thank you to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all of your support. And thank you for listening. Thank you, Brianna, for being here. Thank you, Creator, for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did really enjoy this session, you can always buy me a coffee, but of course, no pressure. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for being here. Jessica, hello to you. Thank you for being here. The Star That Fell, thank you for being here. Cav, thank you for being here. Save Rock and Roll, thank you for being here. Thanks just for tuning in, everyone. Flutterby, thanks for joining us. The Man with the Great Machete, thanks for joining us. Oh, jeez, that made me laugh. SJ, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today. Irene, hello. Thank you for connecting today. Simon, again, thank you. Janelle, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone so much. I'm going to get going. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will be back on Friday night with live readings. Woo! Speak to you soon, and happy spring equinox. Happy astrological new year. I wish you all the best during Aries season. Let me know how you get on. Even just comment, how is your Aries season going? Let us know. Let us know all the dates, are, are the things that I talk about in your horoscopes, do they come true throughout Aries season? Check in, let us know. Even you can talk about on the Discord over at the Patreon. By becoming a patron, you'll gain access to the Discord. We can talk about it over there, right? Anyway, thank you again. Speak to you later. Bye.